My girlfriend blocked me on everything after I tried to talk about our future. I couldn't reply, so I emailed her landlord and withdrew as the guarantor on her lease. She was left frantically calling me after receiving an eviction notice. I think I'm finally done. It's funny how a whole future can just vanish. One minute you're picking out paint swatches, the next you're staring at a generic profile icon where a smiling face used to be. Leslie, 29, and I had been together for 3 years. Felt serious. I thought it was serious. We talked about everything, or so I believed. Marriage, kids, the kind of dog we'd get. A goofy golden retriever was the final verdict. 6 months ago, she found the perfect apartment. A little one-bedroom with a balcony she adored. The catch? Her freelance income wasn't quite stable enough for the landlord. She was devastated. I didn't hesitate. I told her I'd be the guarantor on the lease. It felt like a natural step, a tangible piece of our shared future. My signature on that document felt like a promise. We spent weeks making it a home. It was mostly my money and entirely my labor. I assembled the flat-pack furniture until my hands were raw, hung the gallery wall she designed, and paid for the ridiculously expensive linen curtains she said she couldn't live without. I also paid the $2,850 security deposit. A gift, I told her. An investment in us. Last Tuesday, I brought it up. The future. Not in a pushy way, just a real way. I mentioned that with my lease ending in 4 months, maybe it was time to officially look for a place together. A 2-bedroom, something that was ours, not just hers with my name on the paperwork. Her face tightened. The shift was so subtle, I almost missed it. She said she was tired and that it wasn't the right time for a heavy conversation. Fine. I dropped it. The next day, she was distant. Texts went unanswered for hours. When she did reply, it was with one-word answers. By Thursday, I knew something was wrong. I called her. It went straight to voicemail. I checked her social media. Gone. Blocked. I was staring at a blank space where our life together used to be. I felt a flash of hot, blinding panic. Did something happen to her? I drove to her apartment. Her car was there. The lights were on. I could hear music playing. I knocked. No answer. I used my key, the one she gave me. The first thing I saw was a pair of muddy Adidas sneakers on the new rug near the door. Size 11 at least. I'm a size 9. They weren't mine. And standing in the kitchen, laughing with Leslie, was Philip, a guy from her yoga studio she'd mentioned a few times. The way he had his hand resting on the small of her back. It wasn't friendly. They both froze when they saw me. Leslie's face was a mask of guilt. Philip just looked annoyed, like I was an inconvenience. "What are you doing here?" Leslie asked, her voice thin. "You blocked me?" I said, my own voice sounding hollow. "I was worried." "You should have called," she said, not meeting my eyes. "I did. You blocked my number." The silence was deafening. Philip, to his credit, at least had the decency to look slightly uncomfortable. He took a step back from her. "I think you should go," she finally whispered. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. That's not my way. The hurt was a physical thing, a cold, heavy weight in my chest. But my mind was surprisingly clear. I just looked at her, at the apartment I had helped build, at the man who was wearing his shoes on the rug I paid for. I turned around, left the key on the little table by the door, and walked out. I sat in my car for a long time. The anger came, but it wasn't hot. It was cold, methodical. The betrayal wasn't just about Philip. It was the cowardice, the complete and utter disrespect. She couldn't even grant me a conversation. She just deleted me. So I acted. I went home, pulled up the digital copy of her lease agreement, the one I had saved because I'm meticulous about paperwork. I read the guarantor clause very, very carefully. It stated the guarantor could withdraw their support with written notice to the landlord, after which the tenant would have 30 days to provide a new guarantor or vacate the premises. My hands were steady as I composed the email. Subject: withdrawal of guarantor status for lease at apartment address, Unit 7B. Tenant: Leslie Mills. Dear Mr. Russell, please accept this email as formal written notice that I am withdrawing as the financial guarantor for the lease agreement of the above-mentioned property. Effective immediately. As per the terms of the agreement, I understand this initiates a 30-day period for the tenant, Miss Leslie Mills, to secure an alternative guarantor. Thank you for your understanding. Sincerely, my full name, my contact information. I hit send. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night. I blocked her number. I blocked her on the one social media app she'd forgotten about. Then I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in weeks. The weekend was quiet. Too quiet. A tense, humming silence where communication used to be. I spent it purging my apartment of her. The framed photos, the stupid ceramic mug, the extra toothbrush. It was cathartic. I felt a strange sense of peace. The hurt was still there, a dull ache behind my ribs, but it was being overshadowed by a feeling of clarity. The storm broke on Tuesday afternoon. Just as I suspected, Mr. Russell, being an old-school professional, didn't act on a late-night email over the weekend. He waited until Monday to process it, drafted a formal letter, and had it sent by courier. My phone, which I had turned back on, started vibrating against my desk. It didn't stop. A string of calls from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call from a different unknown number, and another. Then came the emails. My inbox exploded. The first one was from Leslie. Her tone was frantic. Subject: call me right now. What did you do? I just got a letter from my landlord. An eviction notice. Says you withdrew as guarantor. Is this a joke? It says I have 30 days to find a new one or I'm out. You can't do that. Call me immediately. This is insane. It wasn't an eviction notice, of course. It was a notice to cure or quit, a formal warning. But her panic was real. 5 minutes later, another one. Subject: seriously, answer your phone. My dad can't do it. His credit is a mess. You know that. You're trying to make me homeless. After everything, this is how you react. Unbelievable. You're being so childish. The lack of self-awareness was staggering. The sheer, unadulterated entitlement. There was no apology, no acknowledgement of the Adidas sneakers or the man attached to them, just rage that her safety net had been pulled away. Then Philip decided to weigh in. An email from his account. Subject: a word. Dude, I don't know what your problem is, but you need to fix this. Leslie is a wreck. You're putting her in a terrible position because you got your feelings hurt. Whatever happened between you two is your business. But messing with her housing is way over the line. Man up and call her landlord back. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. That one almost made me laugh. I was that guy. The guy who paid the security deposit, the guy who assembled her bed, the guy she hid from while she entertained her new boyfriend. I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I started a new folder in my email account. I labeled it Correspondence. I saved screenshots of the emails. I documented the call log. I was building a record. It felt like the right thing to do, the methodical thing to do. Leslie must have realized her anger wasn't working because the tone of her emails shifted around midnight. The rage was replaced by a cloying, manipulative sweetness. Subject: please. Okay, I know you're hurt. I should have told you about Philip. I was scared. It just happened. But we can talk about this. Please don't do this to me. I love that apartment. It's my home. Our home. Remember how excited we were when we found it? Let's not throw everything away over a stupid fight. Our home. She had the audacity to call it our home. I thought about her panic, her world being upended not by some grand, elaborate scheme, but by a single, quiet email and the predictable, bureaucratic process that followed. The satisfaction I felt wasn't about revenge. It was about balance. It was about the world making sense again. The desperation has escalated. When the direct approach failed, Leslie and Philip pivoted to social pressure. It started with a text from a mutual friend, Alexis. Hey, I don't want to get in the middle of anything, but Leslie called me crying. She said you're trying to get her kicked out of her apartment. Is everything okay? This was the part one was dreading, but also the part one had prepared for. I refused to let them control the narrative. I wrote back, Hey Alexis, I appreciate you reaching out. It's a difficult situation. The short version is that I went to her apartment last week after she stopped responding to me, and I found her with someone else, a guy named Philip. She had blocked me without a word. The only thing I did was remove myself from a legal and financial obligation I was no longer comfortable with. Her housing situation is a direct consequence of her own choices. I'm truly sorry she's upset, but I didn't create this problem. I hit send. It was factual, calm, and void of any overt anger. A few hours later, Alexis replied, "Oh wow, she did not mention that part at all. I'm so sorry." One by one, I got similar messages. I gave them all the same concise explanation. The tide of sympathy, I imagined, did not flow in the direction she had hoped. Meanwhile, Leslie seemed to have realized that her name is on the lease, but my money paid for almost everything inside. A new email arrived. Subject: the apartment stuff. Since you're being like this, I'll need you to come get your things, but we need to discuss what's yours. The couch, for instance. I picked it out. And the TV, I use it every day. It seems unfair for me to lose my home and my furniture. I think a fair solution would be for you to let me keep the main things: couch, bed, TV, kitchen table, and you can take the bookshelf and the lamp. Also, you owe me for half of the last 2 hydro bills. I read the email twice. The sheer nerve. She wanted me to leave thousands of dollars of furniture as a parting gift for her infidelity, and she wanted me to pay her for hydro. My response was immediate. I created a spreadsheet. Column A, item. Column B, purchase price. Column C, link to the online receipt. Column D, owner. My name was in every single cell of column D. At the bottom, a separate entry: security deposit, $2,850, paid by my name. I attached the spreadsheet to my reply. Subject: the apartment stuff. Leslie, I have attached a list of my personal property currently in your possession. As you can see, the furniture and electronics are my property. I am not asking for the hydro bills. Please consider my payment of your utilities for the last 6 months as a gift. I am available to retrieve my belongings this coming Saturday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Please ensure everything is accessible. I will be bringing a friend to help me move. Regarding the $2,850 security deposit which I paid, I will be formalizing my claim to have it returned to me by the landlord upon the termination of your lease. I suggest we coordinate to make this process smooth. Thank you. The response from Philip was almost instantaneous. Subject: unbelievable. Are you kidding me? A spreadsheet? You're really going to take a girl's bed? We're not leaving you a dime of the security deposit. You gave that to her as a gift. You can't just take back a gift. A written admission of their intent. I dragged it right into my correspondence folder. They still didn't get it. They thought this was an emotional drama. It's not. It's just paperwork. It's just cause and effect. It's over. The dust has settled, and the final picture is clearer than I could have imagined. The moving day was an exercise in tense silence. I showed up at 10 a.m. with my friend, Randy. Philip was there, standing behind Leslie with his arms crossed. Leslie had tried a new tactic. She had moved the small things into a pile by the door. The major furniture was still arranged perfectly. "That's what you can take," she said. I didn't argue. I simply told her, "The alternative to this being a smooth process is me requesting a civil standby from the police to prevent a breach of the peace while I retrieve my documented property. It's your choice, but either way, my things are leaving today." The phrase "civil standby" and the implication of uniformed officers at her door did the trick. She and Philip stood by in furious silence as Randy and I dismantled and moved everything. The couch, the TV, the dining set, the bed. As we carried the mattress out, I caught her eye. There was no remorse, just the frantic look of someone who had fundamentally miscalculated. She had gambled that I would be too heartbroken to be rational. She lost. The security deposit became the final chapter. As they'd made their position clear, I took the next logical step. I sent a formal certified letter to Mr. Russell. In it, I stated that I was the original payer of the $2,850 deposit, attached the bank statement as proof, and formally requested that upon the termination of Miss Leslie Mills's tenancy, the deposit and any accounting of deductions be sent directly to my address. I sent a copy to Leslie so she knew it was official. The ball was out of her court. I heard through Alexis that Leslie couldn't find a new guarantor. Philip, it turns out, talks a big game but has a credit score that would make a loan shark laugh. He wasn't an option. With the 30-day deadline approaching, she was forced to give notice and break her lease. About 2 weeks after she moved out, I received an envelope from Mr. Russell's management company. Inside was a check and a statement. He had deducted $600 for a lease-breaking fee and some minor cleaning charges, as per the agreement. The check was for the remaining $2,250. Some people might have let the $600 go. I am not some people. It was my money, and her actions caused the deduction. I filed a claim in small claims court for exactly $600, citing the lease-breaking fee as a direct result of the situation she created. I attached her emails and Philip's, showing their refusal to cooperate. Faced with a court summons, a mountain of evidence, and the prospect of explaining all this to a judge, she folded. 2 days before the court date, I received an e-transfer for $600. No message, just the money. I canceled the claim. Leslie and Philip are apparently living in his tiny, shared bachelor apartment across town. Their social circle has shrunk considerably now that the full story is known. As for me, I'm good. The other night, I was putting together a new bookshelf in my apartment. My own apartment that feels fully mine. The cold anger has faded, replaced by a quiet sense of satisfaction. Not a gleeful feeling of revenge, but the simple contentment that comes from restoring order. They'll never see their own actions as the catalyst. In the story they tell, I'm sure I'm the cold, calculating monster. And that's okay. I don't need them to get it. I didn't do it for them. I did it for me.